Welcome back, everyone. We're just going to hop right into really the most recent playoff news, which is the Brooklyn Nets lost last night in 4 games. Graham and I are both wrong about Boston. I think that, Graham, you and I probably would both agree on this, that Boston overall had the better team, but you and I both thought that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, being who they are, would be able to overcome that and then play good enough in 4 out of 7 games to win that series. So I had it going 7. Clearly, Boston's defense was way too much for Kevin Durant and Kyrie because you got one good game from each of them. And I credit to Boston. The next series against Milwaukee, most likely it's going to be Milwaukee, will be very interesting, especially if Middleton plays.
Yeah, definitely. And I want to start off by saying, Jack Duffy, fuck you, fuck off, and go fuck yourself. Excuse my language. But yeah, I really agree with you. I do think they have the Nets have the best two players on the floor, but who knew that Kevin Durant could be guarded like that? That hasn't happened his entire
career. And I'll give all the credit to
Boston.
Boston.
The Celtics for sure. But yeah, really good job by them. I did not think that Jason Tatum would step up his game like that. And people saying that like Kevin Durant or Tatum is like past Kevin Durant now.
Shut the fuck up. Please don't say that. Like,
no, it's not. But like he's a really good player. He should maybe be All NBA this year. Who knows? But yeah, he's not better than Kevin Durant still.
I think you can start to put Jason Tatum in that top 10 conversation in the NBA for sure. Because his defense really showed that he's a great two-way player too. But come on, Kevin Durant has proven throughout his entire career. Boston shut him down, but it wasn't just Tatum. It was an entire team. Durant had a very bad series, and next year he needs to come back and prove that he is a top 3 player, maybe the best player in the world still. But let's slow down on calling Tatum a better player than Durant. You don't need to bring KD down to boost Tatum up.
Yeah, that's a great point. Because it's just recency bias throughout the entire season. Maybe the last 2, everybody was saying Kevin Durant's the best player in the league, and because he scores 16 points in 4 playoff games, he's now not better than Jason Tatum all of a sudden. So that's just wrong. Also, the thing I see going around right now is the LeBron beat the Celtics, which it was just LeBron, and Kevin Durant can't do it with Kyrie Irving. Like Tatum was a rookie. Jaylen Brown was in his second year. Marcus Smart sucked back then. He was still a decent defender, like a Patrick Beverly pest, but not a defensive player of the year type player. Yeah. This is a completely different Celtics team.
Right. And Smart can shoot and handle the ball now too. Like he's a good offensive player as well.
LeBron got swept after winning that series by Kevin Durant.
Right. Yeah. Kevin Durant.
Yeah. No.
I don't want to compare those series because the teams are so different now. They didn't have Robert Williams back then. They did have Al Horford, but Al Horford back then was more than he is now.
They did have Al Horford.
No, yeah, they did.
They did.
Yeah, okay. But different situation than it was before.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No. Props to Boston. Quickly, I want to preview because we both agreed the Bulls will lose in 5 games, which is what I thought it was going to be. And I'm glad we got one. We were competitive in game 1 and 2. I was very disappointed with 3 and 4. Hopefully game 5, we can at least show some heart, but no Levine, no Caruso. Like it's over.
There's not going to be a lot of heart. There's not going to be a lot of heart.
To preview that series versus Boston, it's going to be a lot different for them to guard Giannis because Kevin Durant he's great, but he's smaller. He can be pushed around a little bit more. You can be physical with him. If you try to be physical with Giannis like they were with Kevin Durant, Giannis will take that fight and he'll probably win.
Yeah.
And he has more shooting around him than Kevin Durant did. He has better players around him, let's be honest, besides Kyrie Irving, of course. No, overall as a team, the Milwaukee Bucks have better role players than Brooklyn does.
Okay, yeah, they're not the deepest team, though, I don't think. But like, I don't have so much faith in Pat Connaughton, and I know Grayson Allen's putting up 30 on the fucking Bulls somehow. But I don't know if he's going to do that against Boston.
No, right, and that's when Middleton becomes a problem. But it's going to be interesting to see what Udoka does with Giannis because Udoka, who is probably a top 5 coach in the league right now, in my opinion, he made great adjustments to Kevin Durant. It's interesting to see how they adjust to Giannis because you can't just throw one guy. You can't just throw like a Grant Williams on Giannis and say, go guard him or be physical with him like they did with Kevin Durant. And when Giannis gets into the paint, he's different than KD because he'll get fouled more than Kevin Durant did. He'll fight through the contact more so than Kevin Durant did. And it's going to be interesting to see how they guard him. It's going to be a different guard. So it'll be it'll be a harder guard than Kevin Durant, which means I think Milwaukee is more of a test for Boston than Brooklyn was.
Right. I think personally, I know the stats don't show it, but I think the Bulls did a decent job on Giannis, and especially in those first two games. I know he had like 33 and 38 or something like that.
And for who we have also on him.
Right. We just don't have the size. We have three guys who are 6'9". Vooch is 6'10". Vooch is not 7 foot. He's 6'10". So we have three guys. One of them, Tristan Thompson, played like 5 minutes in game 3 and 4.
Yeah.
Boston has like 4 or 5 guys who are 6'8" that play. So like that's 4 or 5 bodies you could throw at Giannis instead of 2, really. I mean, we have fucking Caruso on Giannis at the end of the game.
Right. So you can throw Jaylen Brown, you can throw Jason Tatum, you can put Robert Williams, Al Horford. You could try to put Daniel Tice in, but he'll cook Daniel Tice. But I think Robert Williams and Al Horford are interesting because they're very athletic bigs, but they're not like super tall bigs. So, and Giannis does have the weight on them. So it's going to be interesting to see, especially Williams coming off of a knee injury. Can he stay in front of Giannis with the speed and the quickness too? I would probably personally favor Boston in that series if Middleton doesn't play.
Yeah, me too. I'm not going to pick against Boston again. They look really good.
They do.
And yeah, Drew Holiday is going to give Jaylen Brown some problems if he guards him. Like,
yes,
from what we've seen, it doesn't matter who Drew Holiday is guarding. He's going to lock that shit up. Like,
and also Jaylen Brown has not scored to his degree that he can in the Brooklyn series anyway. You put Drew Holiday on him, it's going to be even worse.
Right. Yeah. No. So that's not great. But back to the Giannis thing, I think like people like Al Horford and maybe even Robert Williams. I guess you got to start both of them if they're healthy, but I just feel like they play a Vooch role and like they're a secondary defender. That's second help right around the rim.
Right.
You throw like a Grant Williams on him, just like we threw Patrick Williams on him. He's like that first line of defense. And when he inevitably gets by Grant Williams or Patrick Williams like he did, then you have an Al Horford or Robert Williams there. Plus maybe 2 other guys because he's so fucking good.
Yeah, and Milwaukee does have a lot of shooting. Like if their shooters are out there, if Wesley Matthews is shooting well, Grayson Allen, Brook Lopez for some reason plays like prime Dirk Nowitzki against the Bulls. I don't know what the hell is going on there, but apparently he doesn't miss from 3 anymore. So he's a very good shooter as well. It's gonna be a very good series to watch that, especially if Middleton comes back for like maybe games 3 and 4. Adjustments have to be made on each side to guard each player, but it'll be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's move into. There's a couple teams that we want to talk about that seem to be struggling and may end up getting upset in their series. Phoenix and New Orleans. We'll start there. I know they don't have Devin Booker, but you would hope Chris Paul would be able to get them over the hump with DeAndre Ayton still. And Ayton has stepped up without Booker. You need more from Mikal Bridges, and you need Chris Paul to score 20 points or more. You can't have 4 points in the game like he did last game.
Yeah, you saw when Chris Paul went out earlier in the series or earlier in the year, the Suns were fine. You know, they weren't a bad team, but they don't look good right now. You got Jose Alvarado taking it away from Chris Paul somehow, just being the menace that he is. I actually love that guy. Usually I don't like guys like that, like menaces who come onto the scene like that, like Lance Stevenson's, but he just has the right mindset. He's not a Lance Stevenson at all. But yeah, you got to give some credit to New Orleans too. They're really taking advantage of this. Nobody can guard Brandon Ingram. Mikal Bridges is probably maybe the best guy in the league that you would want on him, and he's putting up 30 in 3 quarters. Like he's looking really nice. And then CJ McCollum hasn't even been shooting well in the last 2 games. I don't think so. When
I need him over 2.5 threes tonight. So hopefully that changes. But yeah. But McCollum also he played well in game 2 when they won that game, and he didn't play well in game 3 and 4, and they won game 4. So you get a good day from McCollum, and you get a good game from Ingram, and you probably can steal game 5. And if they steal game 5 and go home for game 6, that will be very scary if you're Phoenix. Phoenix needs to get game 5.
100%.
Then let's go to Memphis versus Minnesota. I still have Memphis in 6. I made a TikTok about this earlier where I said the Grizzlies will win in 6, and I still believe that to be true. But Memphis is clearly giving them, or not Memphis, Minnesota's clearly giving them problems. Ant Edwards has played well. Pat Bev has been bothering John Morant. John Morant has not been scoring as much. He's been more of a facilitator. So Desmond Bane needs to play like he's been playing. They need more from Jaren Jackson. He's not even scoring over 10 points in this series.
100%.
So
They need that established second or third scorer because that's what Jaren Jackson is. He's also a defensive player of the year candidate. So he needs to step up his game for sure.
Agreed.
But like I said before, got to give a lot of credit to Minnesota. Karl Anthony Towns finally decided to play basketball again. They're not even playing Steven Adams that much. I don't
No,
think
they're
they like
not,
the
which is kind of
matchup.
interesting to me because I feel like a guy that can get rebounds, a guy that can just body against Karl Anthony Towns would be useful.
Right. And so they start like a Xavier Tillman, who's good. I really like Xavier Tillman. I think he's going to be good in the league. But like you want to expose Cat defensively because we know he's not the greatest defender. So if Adams can set that hard screen and
That's what I was about to say.
right, get Cat out on that switch with Ja, that's a nightmare. But I see where they're coming from starting Xavier Tillman, but I don't know.
Yeah. I agree that
They're
pick
the
and
best
roll,
rebounding team in the reason, and that reason, a big
yes,
part of that is Steven Adams, not Xavier Tillman.
right. That pick and roll is a lot deadlier with Steven Adams because, in my opinion, Steven Adams sets the best screens in the league.
Yeah, he does.
And then lastly, the most interesting series is Toronto was down 3-0. They're down 3-2 now, going back to Toronto. Philly has reason to worry because Joel Embiid's finger is clearly troubling him a little bit. And what's interesting about the finger is when he has the ball in his hands, they keep slapping at it. If he keeps slapping at it, the hand's part of the ball. You may call for a couple fouls, but he's going to be going through a lot of pain just to score his 30 points. And James Harden is not what James Harden used to be. He's not going to get you his 30. He's not going to carry you to 35 points. And maybe he does next game. Maybe he proves me wrong. But throughout the playoffs so far, and really in the regular season too, he wasn't the James Harden of old, which is scary for the Sixers.
Right, and the crazy thing is Philly's a Hail Mary 3-pointer away from being down 3-2 in this series, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So they're very lucky to be in the position that they are. They're going back to Toronto, correct?
Yeah, for game 6.
Yeah.
Where it's going to be rocking. So
yeah, Drake's going to be there. That'll be a great game.
It will be. And if you go back for game 7, I still think the Sixers will win this series, but you gotta be like, you can't assume anything because Doc Rivers has given up a lot of leads before. James Harden isn't what he used to be. Tobias Harris struggles more. He plays well at home. He played a decent game last night. But remember, they won game 1 and 2 mainly behind Tyrese Maxey because of how well he was playing.
Right.
And he has dropped off a bit in the series in games 3 through 5.
Also, we were talking
problems.
about how Tobias Harris has been stepping up his game in the playoffs. And I don't know how well he's been playing. I mean, 16 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists in the last game.
He played well last night. Yeah. He won me some money last night.
That's not a $35 million player, but you'll take that out of Tobias Harris because he's not, even though he
right. But also, though, he's played better at home, and on the road, he seems to struggle a little bit more.
Yeah, for sure.
So Toronto's got a lot of weapons.
Yeah, they really do. They got size for Embiid. And you're right, that hand thing is definitely something to worry about.
Yeah, it bothered LaVine a lot in the beginning of the season. It's the same injury LaVine had through the first half of the season, and you clearly affected his shot. And I guess this is a good segue into what we're about to talk about. The Bulls seasons will most likely end tomorrow. Well, to the day of when this comes out on Wednesday. They're going to lose to Milwaukee in game 5. They played a respectable series in game 1 and 2. I was disappointed that Grayson Allen was the guy that beat us because you really got to have more heart than that. But other than that, 46 and 36 in the season, you established that DeRozan is better than people thought that he was going to be. You saw growth from P. Will in the playoffs. You saw growth from Lonzo Ball, who played really well. He's going to continue to get better. He's only 24 years old still. So there's a lot of good things to take from this season, back to the playoffs, and hopefully you can build on it next year.
Yeah, and there's holes, but, when you have the best front office in the league, you don't really worry that much. We need shooting. We need more size because, like I said before, we only have 3 guys who are 6'8" and up. Derek Jones Jr. and Javonte Green, like we were talking about earlier, aren't guys that can come in and guard a Giannis or a Tatum or a Durant. They're just not big enough. They're really athletic, but you need guys who have at least a little bit of size.
Right.
And then we really need shooting. We really need somebody else. And Lonzo Ball would have really helped in this series. He's a 42% 3-point shooter this year. But we really need somebody else, like a 4 who could shoot, like a Maxi Kleber. I know we were trying to get him in the offseason. That would have fit in perfectly. Also, I was talking about this a couple days ago. The Bulls offered that Portland first round pick for Jakob Poeltl at the deadline this year. Jakob Poeltl would have been huge in this series for us, giving Vooch a nice rest. And you don't lose a great amount. Jakob Poeltl is a really solid NBA center. That would have been nice off the bench for the Bulls for sure. So maybe we look into something like that again this offseason.
Yeah, I say you let Tristan Thompson go. I was thinking about this the other day. I think you bring back Lonzo, DeMar, Vooch, P. Will, Io Caruso, and you got to sign Levine. I know it's a lot of money, but someone's going to offer him the money that we can offer him too. Or actually, no one can offer them as much as we can, but someone else will give him a max deal, right? So you need to bring him back. But I know it seems like a lot of money. He didn't play well in the playoffs, but you also got to think he battled injuries all season long. The entire first half of the year, he had his thumb thing, which probably ailed him. And then the entire second half of the year, he's been playing on a bad knee. He doesn't have the same explosiveness you can see. He doesn't get to the rim and finish with the same vigor and same aggressiveness that he usually does. So I'm hoping that off-season off gets him back to the 25 to 28 point per game scorer that he was the season prior to this one.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're kind of handcuffed at this point. We got to give him whatever he asked for, unless it's like Gobert money or something like that.
Right.
But you're right. We can't really not sign him because somebody is going to give him that type of money. Somebody's going to offer him a max. You're going to tell me the Trailblazers aren't going to try and pair him up with Damian Lillard this
Or the Knicks?
Or the Knicks. Of course they are. Of course they're going to give him that money. So we just got to hope he resigns. And I do think that knee was an issue. He did lose explosiveness for sure. And we were looking at his stats, his playoff stats before. The efficiency is pretty good. He's rebounding the ball well and even passing it well. Just 19 points per game. You would like to see that go up to 25, like 24 minimum in the playoffs. You need a $35 million player doesn't score 19 points in the playoffs, unless you're Kevin Durant, of course.
Yeah. But those 7 guys in name, I think, are the only locks that you bring back. Everyone else is expendable. Kobe, Javante, Derek Jones, Tristan Thompson, all expendable in my opinion. I'm okay.
Yeah, Kobe's got to go.
Yeah, I'm okay with trading them away. I'm okay with letting them walk because that gives us money to sign some other free agents. I'm hoping Zach LaVine is a team-oriented guy. He said that for years. He wants to win. I'm hoping he takes not like a pay cut, but just instead of making us pay him max dollars, take $40 million a year, take 35.
Right.
And I'm hoping he does. I don't know if he will, but if he does, that gives us more room. I think you want to go out and sign a wing defender and 3-and-D guy like a Wes Matthews or a Josh Richardson type guy, and you want to bring in a guy like Jakob Poeltl as well. I think those are the 2 needs that the Bulls have.
Yeah, so we have.
So what is our cap space?
I'm looking at it right now. So next year, DeRozan's $27 million.
Yeah,
he goes up $1,300,000. Vooch goes down $2 million. Okay. LaVine free agent. Lonzo goes up $1 million to 19. Yep. Just up $1 million. Derek Jones Jr. This is $9 million expiring. $9.5 million.
Let him go. Let him go. Let him walk. That's $9.5 million we can get back.
Yeah. Patrick Williams goes up $300,000. Doesn't really matter. He's staying. Deal. Kobe White goes up $1.5 million.
So what's his total then?
He's wait, hold on. He is going up from $5,800,000 to $7,400,000.
I think you gotta look to move him.
Yeah. I don't know exactly what you're gonna get because people are starting to realize, he's not.
Do you just let him walk for pretty much nothing and then just take the money back?
No, I think you can get something out of him. Like a team like not Detroit. There's teams out there.
We'll cover that more later when the offseason actually hits. But I think the Bulls' main the money situation will be interesting. We'll do a whole episode where we go into that. But you want to see a jump from Lonzo, you want to see LaVine healthy, and you need a jump from P. Will. because you're bringing back the same core guys most likely, unless we make some Vooch trade, which AK may do, but I'm going to assume we come back with the same core guys. You need Levine to become the best player on the team. DeRozan had a out-of-body year, let's say. I think he can still come back and average 25 points, 24 points a game. But you need Levine to go back to 25 or 26. You need Levine to be your best player. You need a jump from Lonzo. He needs to be improved, and you need P. Will to continue to improve. You do that, you surround your guys with better role players and much better shooting. Our shooting is atrocious. But you surround your guys with better shooting. It's
Troy
a different
Brown Jr. is gone. We can offer him a qualifying offer at $7 million.
Let him walk.
Be out of your fucking mind. Tony Bradley, team option, he's gone. And Javonte Green is on he has another year at $1.8 million. So like that's not a lot of money.
I may keep him.
Yeah. But it's not bad. And then everybody else besides like Io, who has another year, and Marco, who has 2 more years. So yeah. These guys are here for us in the long run. So
yeah, you need the young guys to continue to improve, and you see teams like Miami who really only have one superstar, and Jimmy Butler's a borderline superstar if you, in most people's minds.
I think superstar.
Yeah, I agree, but he's borderline, and he's surrounded by a bunch of really good all-star level guys. So if you can have 2-3 all-star type guys and surround you with a really good supporting cast, you can probably make noise in the Eastern Conference next year. I actually thought Billy coached decently in the series as well. They just have the better team.
There's going to be some question about that, if he wants to, or if we should keep him. I think we should. Levine has expressed that he loves him. That's a big reason for me wanting to keep him. But yeah, the offense sometimes really does seem stagnant. And has to do maybe with the players more than the coaches, but at some point it's got to go on the coaches. That offense needs to get moving more. You have 3 above average offensive players on your team. You can't be having them ISO 7 plays in a row or something like that.
Yep. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Beat the Buzzer podcast. Please comment, subscribe, all those things down below. Also go check out our TikTok. We're uploading more consistently on there. It's just pretty much what we talk about here, just shorter and different topics as well. So thanks guys for tuning in. We'll see you next time.